All righty, welcome everybody. It is day 3, and we are going through our workshops. As we've talked about, we are going through our 6 pillars of health. So we went through mindset first. We did do fitness yesterday. We are talking about nutrition today. So we'll go through a few questions. Our main goal here is to figure out how to make yourself as successful as possible in the long run with setting up your nutrition. So I've got Ray here today. We're going to go ahead and go back and forth with some questions, kind of give our own experiences, and hopefully this provides some good information for you as well. How you doing, Ray?
Doing good, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for being here. So, first question that I want to talk about, and I think that you're going to know what my answer is because we've been working together for a while here. I do want it to be as general as possible. What do you think healthy eating means? What does that sound like to you?
Healthy eating means like eating uh, nutritious foods like lots of fruits and vegetables, um, more whole foods, less processed foods. Like processed foods like snacks or like processed meat, like in cans and everything. Um, yeah, so more like nutritious, dense foods.
Okay, awesome. I love that word, nutritious, like nutrient dense, right? Is a big piece of it. So, what is one thing that we've talked about with the term healthy? Like, why do we maybe avoid it? Why do I hate that word?
Yeah. Uh, because when people think healthy, it's like, oh, like I'm healthy if I'm skinny and if I only eat the right foods, and I'm healthy if I look a certain way or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we start to label. So we've used this word a lot before, dichotomous thinking. So it's like black and white, all or nothing.
Mhm.
And so we start to label a lot of foods as very dichotomous. This is a good for you food, a bad for you food, a good food, a bad food, whatever the case is, right? And so that term healthy, I always try to be really careful about the way we use it because it implies that things are healthy and unhealthy. Now, there are definitely things that have more nutrients and less nutrients, like you were talking about, right?
Mhm.
That are less processed or more processed, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have like a purpose or a benefit to them. So the example that I want to use is the idea of being like emotionally intelligent and emotionally mature is being able to experience every emotion on the spectrum and like process it and feel it and then allow it to have its space and then be able to move on, right? So it's that same idea of like resiliency, right? And so we almost
Mhm.
want to take that here too, where healthy eating is less about only eating this strict regimen of foods, and it's more about like having a positive relationship with food, eating foods that are generally going to benefit you more, and trying to eat fewer of the foods that are generally going to be detrimental to your health. But it's less about like just that black and white thinking, right? And more about that relationship. So talk to me a little bit about what you've seen in either your experience or maybe our clients' experiences about their relationships with food and what that kind of looks
Yeah, so just that like sometimes we'll look at foods and we'll think, okay, yeah, this is either good or bad for me. If I eat this, this is this is good and healthy for me, and uh, but if I or this may or may not be good or healthy for me, but if I choose something else, I for sure know that this is healthy for me because it's a fruit or a vegetable. So just that mindset or that thinking that that dichotomous thinking that yes, it's either this or that. And we kind of and I've seen too that our clients or clients have the mindset of, oh, because I know that this is bad for me, I'm gonna stay away from it. I'm not gonna eat it. I know I have to eat good, so I'm gonna choose the healthy option or something that I know is better for me.
like.
So that's the kind of mindset or thinking that I see with clients and even with me too in the past.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you. And so we talked about this a lot yesterday, or even throughout the whole week, the idea of things being practical, right? Being something that you can kind of do long term. So tell me why thinking that you only can or should eat healthy food might not be practical for some people.
It might not be practical because what if somebody has been used to or has only eaten like foods that maybe aren't the greatest for them, but it's something, that they enjoy and it's something that, they're used to that they grow up on, like, like low income families or something, they can't provide and buy all that nutritious food because some of it can be expensive, but that um can you repeat the question because I was getting to my point but I lost it.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we think that we can only eat healthy food and that's like all we're allowed to eat, what typically happens? What does that do to our mindset?
Okay, yeah. So then once we start eating unhealthy foods, or once we start eating healthier foods, it's like they start having this bad relationship with food. Like going back to what I was saying, like, oh yeah, this is good for me, and I know it's good for me. I need to eat it. Like even though I don't want to eat it, I need to eat it because it's better for me. And I can't eat this and enjoy the foods that I like to enjoy because it's bad for me. So that same thing of like dichotomous.
Yeah. And the number of times we hear some variation of that where it's like no healthy food tastes good or all food that tastes good is not
Mm-hmm.
healthy, right? Like and so a lot of the time that kind of brings in this like guilt piece, right? So if we decide to make an exception, then like so for example, I think I may have told the story before. When I was personal training in person, they used to bring all kinds of treats into the trainer's room, and they would always be like some kind of desserts, like donuts or something like that, right? And I had such this like egotistic image of myself in terms of like what I was eating that if I ate a donut in the break room, I ate it when no one else was in the room. And I would like eat it as quickly as possible because I literally had food shame around eating anything that didn't match this image of myself that I'd created. You know what I mean? And so because if we're too dichotomous with it, if we're too concentrated on only eating the things that are healthy for us, then I think a lot of times it not only puts in this guilt piece, but it doesn't allow us to have any of those exceptions for other reasons, right? It doesn't allow us to be able to feel good about making exceptions sometimes for foods that we enjoy or for special occasions or anything like that. So
Yeah.
let's talk really quick about and one of the other pieces that I figure we'll talk about as well too. Let me plug this in and then we'll continue. Is a lot of times if you tell yourself that you can only do XYZ, what do you
Mhm.
normally want to do?
Whatever it is that you tell yourself you shouldn't
The
do.
other thing, right? Yeah. So we've talked about this like rebel mentality idea, right? Where we talk to ourselves and we're like, please, you tell me I can't eat a donut. Well, now I want a donut. You know what I mean? Like it's this weird defiancy thing that happens. So that's totally a thing
Mhm.
too. So let's talk really quick about the purpose of foods, because yes, health is absolutely one of them. And food is so, so important for our longevity and our health in general because it's like our closest relationship to the outside world, right? And I love this description when I was doing some research on metabolism. I thought it was really cool. Like your skin is a barrier, right? It's meant to keep things out. Your digestive system is literally meant to soak it all in. And so we
Mhm.
do want to feed that digestive system with things that are going to benefit the rest of our body, right? So we absolutely know that, definitely. There are also other reasons to eat food. So besides just for your health and your longevity, what do you think are some other reasons to eat food in general, whether it's healthy or unhealthy?
Other reasons to eat food. One, at least for me personally, just the enjoyment of it, because food is good. I love trying different kinds of foods. Um, Another reason we eat food, other than like health, uh, it's a part of like culture sometimes, or it is a part of culture. Like in different countries, people gather around food, like for Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthdays,
Mhm.
or special occasions or holidays in different countries. Food is like it brings everybody together. It's very community oriented. For dinner, like with your family, you eat at the dinner table and you're eating food. You're all sitting together. It brings everybody together. So yeah, this can be other ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And things like literally just pleasure. You mentioned that food is good,
Mhm.
like you said, celebration, that's a good one. Another is like fuel, but in a different way.
Mhm.
So I'm
Mhm.
going to talk really quick about that. So we've talked about purpose of food a little bit here. So for example, one of the things that we've talked about a lot was electrolytes and Gatorade, right? So
Mhm.
original Gatorade has a ton of sugar in it, but it is meant to have sugar in it because it's supposed to be able to replenish the people that are doing long-term exercise. So maybe two a
Yeah.
days, maybe they're a marathon runner, whatever the case is, it's literally designed that way. And so then when
Mhm.
people drink it just as a casual drink instead of for that purpose, that's where it kind of changes the purpose of the Gatorade itself. But it was
Mhm.
designed that way for a reason, right? And if you
Mhm.
are a marathon runner, you're probably going to take in some Gatorade. You're probably going to use those little chewable tablets for basically just straight sugar. And that's okay
Yeah.
because that's what it's for. And so that's why we want to be really careful about how we label the food because it depends on what you're using it for, what your body can tolerate, what our ultimate goal is, right? All of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Okay. So something that we've talked about in BU a little bit here or there, at least in our concepts, is this idea behind the 80-20 rule. Have you heard that before?
80-20 goal,
80-20 rule, yep.
roll through. Oh my gosh, I remember reading about it
Mhm.
or hearing about it. I can't remember what it was
Okay.
or what it is.
Yeah. So there's a few different versions of it. Originally, I think it came from some statistician that was like 80% of your problems come from 20% of your clients or something. It was like from business or something like that, right?
Mhm.
And so we stole it from the health and fitness aspect. And we said, essentially the idea is to try to eat nutrient dense foods that we know are going to be helpful for our body at least
Mhm.
80% of the time,
Mhm.
right? And then
Mhm.
making those exceptions the other 20%. So
Yeah.
as we know, our odd method is building awareness, weighing options, and then making deliberate decisions. And then you and I talk about making deliberate exceptions. Can you tell everybody what a deliberate exception looks like?
Yeah, kind of giving yourself grace for, well, in this case, like for food, you know, eating something that you do enjoy having, without feeling shame or guilt because you're eating, and
Absolutely. Yeah.
actually just eating it because you want to and because you enjoy it.
Absolutely. And we have to make some of those exceptions in order to just like enjoy life sometimes, right? And
Mhm.
that's one point that I wanted to point out. You were talking about earlier, like celebrations and stuff like that. If you're so restrictive about everything you're eating, sometimes that makes those events less enjoyable if you're
Mhm.
not intentional about it, right?
Mhm.
So, for example, say that you're trying to eat no sweets, no sugar, anything like that, maybe no alcohol, and then you go out for a friend's birthday. It's one thing if you don't want cake or if you don't want to drink,
Mhm.
that's totally fine. That's an exception. If you tell yourself that you can't have it and then everyone else is having it, that's where we start to get that weird psychological disruption where it's
Yeah.
essentially like negating the fact that you have free will and you have choice and you're allowed to make exceptions because the goal is consistency. Do you kind of see what I mean?
Yeah, and yeah, I get you because when I was trying out or on like a vegan uh diet or vegan lifestyle, I would go out with friends and they would order like food with like meat and everything and tacos with like meat and or cheese even, I love cheese. And I would order like veggie tacos or sometimes the menu didn't even have like vegan or vegan options. So I would have to kind of like, okay, well, can you just give me this as a side, this as a side, this as,
You're
and
like, can
I'd
I get
look at
some carrots?
everybody else. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that looks so good, but I can't eat that because I'm not eating meat. And then yeah, I would eat my food and yeah, it was good, but yeah, like in the back of my mind, I knew I wish that I had those carne asada tacos or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
And that's a really great example because it's something that you have to get used to a little bit, right? If you decided, okay, I'm going vegan, I'm going to try it out, and then you felt awesome on it, and then when you go back to, go out with your friends, you're like, actually, I don't want that because I feel so
Mhm.
much better doing this thing that I'm doing for myself, whatever that
Mhm.
looks like, right? So,
Yeah.
I know veganism and vegetarianism, funny enough, I just asked about that in the group. But I know it's not for everyone. But I know for some people that they do feel a whole lot better or whatever the case is. So whatever that version of that is for you, cheese for me.
Hmm.
I have given up cheese maybe 5 years ago, and oh my gosh, it's so good. Like, I'm not gonna say it's not, but at this point, I know that when I eat cheese, I feel worse, and it's not worth it anymore for me to feel
Hmm.
my body that way. I'm sure people that are gluten free feel that a lot, right? And so it's just like what works for you. And then when you know that it works and you know that it makes you feel better, you don't have that same rebel mentality. You're like, you can stand firm and know, like, I'm making the choice that I'm making because it makes me feel better. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and that's the same for me with cake. Like
Mm,
any kind of cake, it can be good, but I think cake to me is just way too sweet and has
mm,
way too much sugar. And if I eat it, it like really bothers like my mouth because it's just so sweet. And so now it's like gotten to the point where I see cake and I'm like, I don't even want it. I don't even crave it.
mhm.
I'm not even like, oh, I want like a little spoonful. Like, I just don't want it. Like, it's just
Yeah.
not something that calls my attention or that I crave. I just don't want it at all.
And to give a little bit of hope to people that are struggling with things like that, where they still have a lot of cravings and stuff like that, that happened over time, right?
Hmm. Oh yeah.
And it happens because you continue, because I imagine when you first stopped eating cake or sweets or whatever, it was a little bit harder, right? And got easier over time.
Yeah, and I would still eat it, but just not as much.
Yeah.
Or it'd be like a specific certain kind of cake, and that was it, and it was only just like barely even like a slice.
Yeah. A couple of bites or whatever. And that helped you
Mm.
feel like you were still able to celebrate or that you were enjoying
Hmm.
it or whatever, but you didn't have to like feel guilt for not finishing the whole thing or feel
Yeah.
guilt if you decided not to eat it, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, and like
absolutely.
especially like for celebrations, like if it's my birthday, sometimes I felt obligated to eat the cake, but I'm okay. I'll just eat a little bit, but that's it.
Drinking. That's a hard one. Like every
Mm.
holiday
Hmm.
is so centered around drinking that it's like
Yeah.
that's just normal, right? And you almost feel obligated to do it. And then it's kind of like, okay, but why? Why
Hmm.
do we feel obligated, right? Let's build that awareness again. Where did that even come from? Do I even want to, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
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 Okay. So one piece that I wanted to kind of take away for some action steps is some things that we can do to help kind of reduce the food noise from a guilt perspective, right?
Mhm.
Cravings, oftentimes your body is asking for something specific. So you kind of have to learn what it's asking for, but most people don't have the intuition to be able to actually use intuitive eating because we often just eat whatever we like see or smell or whatever, right?
Mhm.
Like we give into those cravings. And so that's what we think it means, but it may not, right? It may be slightly different. And so I went a little off topic there for a second, but what I want to get to is like, what are some ways that we can set ourselves up, maybe in our house, in our environment, to be able to allow us to get to the point where we are able to not eat cake for a while and not feel bad
Mhm.
about it, right? Like, what do you think that we need to do to set ourselves up for success to make that easier to reduce some of that friction?
Yeah, that's a good question. What comes to mind is not completely getting rid of, but at least start consuming a little less at a time of the foods that aren't the best or that are nutritious or that you do want to change. Like, not just completely going through your cabinet and throw away all like your chips, cookies, cakes, muffins, like whatever it is, not doing that, but maybe even just keeping it there, but in your mind, like tell yourself, yes, that's there, but I'll eat just like a little bit today, give it a rest. If I'm really craving it, get some more that next day or that next time that I am craving it. And slowly over time, kind of step away from it, and maybe not even completely, but just to the point where you know that you're not maybe consuming it as much as you used to.
Yeah. Right. And I will say out loud that some people do better with a clean, like if you think, I don't know, hoarders or something like that, but I don't know, they
Mm.
probably regress. But like Alcoholics Anonymous, right? Like their goal is just to cut it
Mm.
off, right? So some
No, yeah,
people that might work for them. For
yeah.
most people, if we're that extreme, then that's that rebel mentality piece that we talked about, right? And
Mm.
so, yes, absolutely, being able to make sure that what's in our house is supportive of what we need.
Mm.
Another one that I'll throw out, and then I'll ask you if you have another one, is having like snacks that are readily available that are better choices, right? And so if we already know what's in our cabinet and we can have easily accessible, more nutritious versions. Like I used to buy the little mixed nut packs, even though they're
Mhm.
the individual bags, even though they're more expensive, because I was more likely to eat it if I could just grab a pack, right? And I eat bars
Mhm.
sometimes because most of the bars that I'm eating are a little bit more minimally processed if possible. But like that convenience factor is so huge for so many people that if we're not doing some pieces of that, buying the little carrots in the little bags or whatever the case is, then we're going to just eat something that might not be as nutritious or might not follow along
Mhm.
with our goals or go get food if we didn't need to or want to, right? So that's, I think, a
Mhm.
piece too. Can you think of any other ones?
Yeah, so I notice now too when I go to the grocery store to buy food, I just completely skip like the snack aisle. Um, and before it wasn't like that. I would part of the snack aisle was a part of my grocery list, and it was something that I would make sure I would go to grab some snack. But like how we were saying, like over time, I eventually just stopped going, and now it's gotten to the point where sometimes I don't even think about the snack aisle. And so, yeah, avoiding, or not even avoiding, but maybe go to the snack aisle a little less. Or if you do, just buy one um, food that you do crave and that you do enjoy, or like you said, buy something that's a little bit less processed, uh, more nutritious. Um, but yeah, so for me, just avoiding the snack aisle in the grocery store.
Yeah. So I actually, funny enough, the resource for today is grocery store hacks. So how to
Mm,
navigate the
mhm.
grocery store. So a couple
Yeah.
of the ones that I've heard is the perimeter is usually the safest, right? The middle section are usually the most processed. End
Mm,
caps
okay.
and checkout stands designed for
Oh,
impulse, right?
okay. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Awesome. And then I'm going to add one more meal prep. I'm a huge
Mm,
advocate. It
mhm,
works really well for
mm,
me. Again, each person is going to be slightly different, but I know what my portion sizes are. I know what I'm going to eat. It's very predictable. We're able to like make sure our meal composition is consistent, right? And so I'm a huge
mhm,
advocate. I'm a huge fan of meal prep. I think that that's kind of the same idea as the snacks. You just
mhm.
already have the food available. You already have the food ready. It kind of gives you a little bit more control, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have one more. Do you have any other that you can think of?
Um, at least one that I do right now, like the foods that I really crave, I'll go out to buy them so that it's not here and that I don't have it whenever I want it. So like, and if I really do want it, and I do really want to spend money, then I'll go out to like a restaurant and eat it or something,
And make an
whatever it
experience
is.
out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So mine is same, but opposite. If I am meeting friends and I know that I don't want to eat whatever they're eating. So for example, the other
Hmm.
night, I was meeting some friends, I think after one of our meetings. So it was already late.
Hmm.
It was past my dinner time, right? And they
Hmm.
were going to a pub. So I figured it was just going to be lots of like greasy stuff, pizza, stuff like that. And that was
Hmm.
exactly what they were eating, which was pizza, which is totally fine. But again, I'm not eating cheese because I feel like crap when I do, right? That doesn't mean I don't ever eat pizza. It's delicious, I will say. But I try to make my exceptions very deliberate, right? And so this was
Hmm.
not one of those times. So what I did is I ate in advance so that when I went, I wasn't hungry. I wasn't tempted to eat whatever they had left over because I knew that that wasn't going to make me feel good because it wasn't in my plan, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I know that
Yeah.
that feels a little restrictive at first, but if you specifically know that you're going into a situation where maybe they're not going to have the best options for you, if you were vegan at the time and you know that restaurant doesn't have vegan options, it's
Mhm.
not that big of a deal to go eat beforehand and then just go hang out with your
Yeah.
friends. You know what I mean? It feels a
Yeah.
little weird at first, but it's not that
Mhm.
way.
Yeah, for sure. That's something that I did start practicing. And then too, you're not spending so much money on food. Everything is just so there and ready for you to consume. And so yeah, if you eat before, one, you get to save money. Two, you're already full, so you don't even want food. And yeah.
Yeah. And so just to reinforce everything that we're talking about, again, the goal is not restriction at all, right? The goal is just for us to be able to find more nutrient dense foods more often. So we have that consistency and then make deliberate, guiltless decisions and
Mhm.
exceptions when we feel like we need to or want to, and be okay with that being like the norm. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Anything to add?
Um, what this did come to mind that especially that I like that I travel a lot and there's so many different kinds of food to try everywhere I go.
Hmm.
I save those cravings for like certain days, like the weekend. The weekend, I eat a little bit more freely. I'll go out. I'll intentionally go out and eat something that I know I've been craving for like the week that 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 I really wanted. So I'll go out, go to that restaurant like I was saying earlier, and buy that and eat that with no guilt or no shame behind it. It's like, yes, I enjoy this. This is what I want, so this is what I'm gonna do. And also because it's kind of like a reward, right? Yeah, I've been doing good this weekend. It feels good that I've been eating good, so it also feels good that I can now enjoy this without feeling guilty behind it.
Absolutely. And I'm going to add a small caveat to yours because we have our clients give us their nutrition. So every once in a while we had this, right? The opposite of weekend warrior. So weekend warrior is like when you only work out on the weekend, the opposite of that, but
Mhm.
for nutrition, when you like eat really, really well the whole week and then you just go ham on the weekend and just like
Mhm.
destroy everything that you've been working for.
Yeah.
That's not great, right?
Yeah.
But what you said is different, right? What you said is intentionality instead of impulsivity, making
Mhm.
deliberate exceptions, that 20%, while eating what you know is consistent during the week, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, awesome. Well, I appreciate it. So, day three, we are 7 days this week. So, keep putting all of your results in there. Remember that you can get a point for the replay and answering the question. So, I will put this up in just a little bit and let us know if you have any questions. We're excited to keep going with you. Thanks so
All
much.
right.
Talk to you soon.
See ya.